welcome to the webinar, everybody. Appreciate you participating on this. And my objective is to give you some great information about how to improve the culture, reduce gossip, bullying, harassment, sexual harassment, really about how to make your place a great place to work. It is now, I'm sure, but there are always issues that come up, and they seem to be accelerating within different organizations. So this would be preventative medicine, if you want to call it that. So how to neutralize a negative workplace, and a whole range of other good ideas when it comes to communication and working with people and developing people, especially the last part of the webinar when I get into special bonus resources for you. So bad attitude, jealousy, disruptive behavior, sabotage every organization by destroying morale, lowers self-esteem, reduces teamwork, and therefore productivity and profitability. And certainly your reputation goes along with that as well. Kind of the big picture thinking, a recent report says 35% of Americans have been bullied, harassed. Depending on the industry, it's higher or lower. It's still way too much. You know, what's interesting, what was acceptable behavior 15, 20 years ago? How men and women interacted isn't acceptable now. Certainly we see that in some TV shows as to what the behavior was then versus what it is now. And it's how people interact. So this is about stopping disruptive behavior. This is about understanding that when there's that sniping, there's that rumor going on, griping, pessimism, bad attitudes, passing the buck, if you want to call it that, engagement goes down. You know, what's interesting is, you know, what I've noticed over the number of years, Joe, a lot of people are just jerks. They don't get how they interact with people. You know, one of my favorite examples is this one police officer who, when he's off duty, when he shook hands with you, would literally crush your hand. And he never figured out that people in pain were objecting to it. So I'm not sure why that always happened. Anyways, we're going to talk about manipulation, about how things get on, and why do it. So today's a lot of great information. Not all will be totally relevant. The majority should be. And I will be challenging you that with literally every slide I show, the question will be, how are you doing when it comes to this measurement, this observation, this strategy, if you want to call it that? How are you doing on that? So a lot of it will be, and a lot of it will become more relevant to you. So use it to focus on the issues, come up with doable solutions to whatever your particular issue is. We do have a Q&A at the end if you want to ask it specifically. If you don't want to make it public, you know, certainly contact me, you know, through Michael and Global Wisdom, or, you know, contact me directly. I'd be happy to give you some information on that. So make sure I got the controls back. So next slide. So my purpose today is to challenge what I call the conventional wisdom as to what creates harassing, bullying, disruptive behavior. More importantly, to raise questions in you about how you let it happen. And the reason I say that, you know, if you're in charge of your department or company or personnel policies and the culture, if you see something going wrong, going south as the term is, you need to do something about it right then and there. Because when you don't, basically that's saying that type of attitude, that type of behavior is okay. And the negative aspect of that is if somebody is being harassed or gossiped or bullied or whatever the issue is, and you see it, and they see you see it, and you don't do anything about it, it lowers their respect for you and their self-esteem of themselves and the organization. So the question is, well, why do you let it happen? You know, so maybe a little education, a little being upfront about what to do and how to do it. This will help for that. So to provide insights and strategies on how to take control over everything, starting with a focus on what I like to call, you know, certainly uncivil behavior and why that's such an important issue to everybody. So, you know, kind of get you thinking about this. How many of you ever worked for a bully? Well, a lot of us have. How many have ever been bullied or harassed? I can certainly recall when I was in elementary school and being bullied on the way home, and that stopped when I stood up to the bullies and basically beat them up because they were always doing that to me and my brother. But I just had enough, and kind of a theme for this is, you know, enough is enough. how you make people feel, and how it makes people do things differently. So being afraid, or not to say running away from the problem or hiding from the problem, versus standing up to it. Now, certainly that's not the case with most people today, but it's really about standing up to it. Or maybe you've witnessed somebody being bullied. Certainly, when you see that happen and you want to step in, there's that problem that, as was evidenced on the Good Doctor show last night, that sometimes the hero, is rewarded with severe punishment, for helping somebody. And I've seen that happen too. That, as the expression is, good deeds go punished, and unfortunately that's true for some. Or I had a family member or child bullied or harassed, and see how it affected them and how it changed their personality. They went from being outgoing to reserved and quiet and timid. Or just looking at how it affected them and how it affected you, thinking about them and what's wrong and why aren't they doing this, and trying to bring that out of them. So the question is, well, did one make you affect and impact and change what the problem was and take care of it? Well, sure, we all do. We all should. We all could. And it's about taking action. So when it comes to this, enough is enough. I did a word cloud insert there of all the different words that attach to this. What's interesting, as has been reported many times, a powerful person has been accused of misconduct at a rate of nearly once every 24 hours since Harvey Weinstein. And a July 20th article about him talked about how he reached a tentative U.S. $44 million settlement that would include compensation for his alleged victims. But this article breaks it down into arts and cinema, politics. Certainly there's a big list of politics, media, hospitality, restaurant, hotel business, technology, sports, venture capitalism, other industries. There's a whole range of them. The government of Canada is providing funding for $2.7 million to help improve sexual harassment reporting. So it's easier for people to record what's going on about that. Or an article about girls cyberbullying girls, and it talks about how this one 19-year-old said cyberbullying she experienced in high school by a former friend was so upsetting she considered taking her own life, and how she got past that. Or a more recent article, dozens of Google employees say they were retaliated against for reporting harassment. The list goes on and on and on, and it has to stop. Enough is enough.